Joe Biden's out there today. He told CNN on Thursday that he met with, Mitch McConnell said this. He met with John Cornyn and encouraged him to speak with Democrats to find a compromise on legislation. And somehow Joe Biden is buying this. And he is supposedly waiting for, what did he call them? Rational Republicans?
We have the tweet. Just 1 second.
This, first off, again, the Democrats can't seem to understand this concept, the Democratic leadership.
Yeah.
There's a story in Business Insider, and look, I get it. Republicans are the problem. Don't email me, because we're talking about the Democratic leadership not getting that.
And the fact that
Send
Democrats...
your emails to them.
Yes, Democrats have majorities in a very slim one, to be fair, but in the Senate and the House as well, and the presidency. So blaming Republicans right now.
Well, no, I mean, look, Joe Manchin's not going to do it. I get it. But the best that Democrats can do at this point is to be engaged in politics about it. Business Insider reported that like a month ago, Joe Biden started using the term Ultra-MAGA. And he started using the term Ultra-MAGA because apparently Anita Dunn and the Center for American Progress did 6 months worth of like focus testing. And the idea was Ultra-MAGA they came up with because it was an idea of like saying to Republicans like, hey, they're super extreme.
It's
and
MAGA,
you're not like
but
that.
ultra.
And just like Thomas Friedman has suggested, we're going to peel 10% of you off. And then you know what happened? The Republicans all started calling themselves Ultra-MAGA. Elise Stefanik said, I'm Ultra-MAGA and I'm proud of it. Donald Trump started selling T-shirts saying, I'm Ultra-MAGA.
Cool. It sounds like a superhero.
It is the ability of the Democrats to get that there's no magic word that you're going to do. You need to communicate that Republicans are bad. Okay? And that's, yes, I know that's a juvenile way of saying it, are unhelpful, are radical, are extreme. And there are no good ones because they can't be. Mitch McConnell, I don't know what's in his empty, dark, rotted heart, but it doesn't matter. The point is, he wants to stay in power. The Republican Party is now completely beholden, and that's the best thing you can say. They are completely beholden to insaniacs.
And any Republican that's speaking about, say, I don't know, some semblance of gun control, toying with it, is not going to be elected in elected office for either they're retiring or they have plans on retiring.
Yes, this is the point. The Democratic leadership has to make it clear that there are no rational Republicans. To call Mitch McConnell a rational Republican after Joe Biden 2 years ago said, give me 6 months after Donald Trump is gone, they're going to have an epiphany. And then he sort of backed off that. And then he sort of, invited Republicans in to negotiate Build Back Better and destroyed his primary agenda. And now the idea that they're still going around saying we need strong Republicans. There are rational Republicans. There are not.
And the only one that is, right,
is not going to be a Republican anymore.
Yeah, Kinzinger. We'll play this.
Here we go. Here's a clip from Adam Kinzinger. This is what a rational Republican looks like. And the definition of a rational Republican lawmaker is one who is also retiring. You can remember that because that starts with an R2. Well,
it's good that you say this, because I'm sure the Democratic leadership is going to say, thank you so much, Adam Kinzinger, for this love.
This is proof that there are rational Republicans if they hope to have no future in Republican politics.
Yeah.
Play this clip.
Congressman, you do still oppose a ban on the kind of assault weapons that were used in the shooting. Can you explain why private citizens need weapons of war?
Look, I have opposed a ban, fairly recently. I think I'm open to a ban now. It's going to depend what it looks like, because there's a lot of nuances on what constitutes, certain things. But I'm getting to the point where I have to wonder, maybe it's maybe somebody to own one, maybe you need an extra license, maybe you need extra training. And so the question is it a ban versus an additional certification? But yeah, I got to tell you, I mean, the 99.9% of people that own ARs, we all know, are not going to walk into a school and do this. But the problem is, for those that support the Second Amendment, like me, we have to be coming to the table with ways to mitigate 18-year-olds buying these guns and walking into schools. My side's not doing that. My side's not coming forward with reasonable ways to defend an amendment that we think is very important. And so I'm looking at this going, fine, if people are going to put forward solutions about certifying maybe who can buy an assault weapon, I'm certainly open to that.
All right. Now, here's the funny part about this. Aside from the fact that, yes, he's making this great compromise only because he's retiring.
And he's not even saying that he will support it. He's saying he's open to it.
He's open. But let's give him the benefit.
Yeah, because by the way, they're gonna but just a quick point. They're gonna negotiate this, and it's gonna be long and protracted, and people are gonna forget about it.
Nothing's gonna happen.
And nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing's gonna happen.
That's why they should have acted and not gone on vacation. They should have acted the day after with some urgency.
But to be clear, it also puts the lie, because I and to be fair, I have not looked this up, although I can imagine that when Kinzinger in the past was against any certification or whatever, I mean, he's claiming he's moved, right, on this position. When he was against in the past any certification or double licensing or whatever it is, he undoubtedly cited the Second Amendment and said we cannot infringe upon this completely uninfringible right established in the Constitution. And now, of course, we realize that he doesn't really believe that. He doesn't really believe that, and he has the latitude to talk like at least a somewhat rational human being, because he's going to retire. There's a piece that was in the New York Times, written by Kate Shaw, and who served as a clerk for Justice John Paul Stevens, and another clerk who served as a clerk for Scalia. That is John Bash, who is now an attorney in private practice, served at the DOJ, was U.S. attorney under Donald Trump, law clerk from Scalia from 2007 to 2008. Kate Shaw, professor at Cardozo Law School, host of the Supreme Court podcast Strict Scrutiny. I think she's married to Hayes. And they clerked for the two justices who wrote both the majority opinion and the minority dissent in the Heller case, which was from 2008. It was the case that established an individual's right to have a handgun in their home, not subject to any government regulation. Because for the other 200 some odd years of this country, the Second Amendment was not interpreted as giving individuals a right to carry arms. And when you tweet at me, when I tweet this out and you say, my dad, you're wrong. My dad had a permit to carry a gun 40 years ago. Yes, he had a permit, which meant that he had a license, which meant that the state provided him a privilege to carry that gun. In the same way you don't have a right to drive a car, you need to carry a license that says the state says it's okay for you. That is an indication that at that time, the Constitution, as interpreted by the Supreme Court for over 200 years, did not give you an unfettered right to carry a weapon as an individual. So they're writing in the New York Times that despite the fact that both these people totally disagree on the concept of gun control, et cetera, they agree on what Scalia's opinion in Heller said and did not say. And according to them, Heller merely established the constitutional baseline that the government may not disarm citizens in their homes. The opinion expressly recognized, quote, presumptively lawful regulations such as laws imposing conditions and qualifications on the commercial sale of arms. Keep this in mind when everybody talks about the Second Amendment. Scalia, the greatest lunatic, well, arguably one of the greatest lunatics, at least up to that time, who had served on the Supreme Court, wrote, laws imposing conditions and qualifications on the commercial sale of arms was presumptively lawful, as well as bans on carrying weapons in sensitive places, like schools. It noted with approval the, quote, the historical tradition of prohibiting the carrying of dangerous and unusual weapons. Heller also recognized the immense public interest in prohibitions on the possession of firearms by felons and the mentally ill. This is a very, very different Second Amendment than these people try and pretend it is. Nothing in Heller casts doubt on the permissibility of background check laws or requires the so-called Charleston loophole, which allows individuals to purchase firearms even without completed background checks. Nor does Heller prohibit giving law enforcement officers more effective tools and greater resources to disarm people who have proved themselves to be violent or mentally ill, as long as due process is observed. Heller also gives the government at least some leeway to restrict kinds of firearms that can be purchased. I mean, if you can't own a grenade launcher, can't society decide that a AR-15 has no more value to society than a grenade launcher? Or rather, society has a vested interest in not allowing individuals to carry grenade launchers? What possible reason would society have for justifying the carrying of an AR-15? What possible reason that is so compelling that it outweighs inhibiting 18-year-olds or anybody of any age from getting one of these weapons that are so intimidating, cops are going to wait in the hallway until you've fired out and killed all the kids in the room? What sane, rational person could come up with a reason why people need to carry AR-15s? Well, here is Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy trying to give a reason why society should make the determination that despite the fact that there's a compelling interest to not allow people to carry this type of assault weapon around, he's got an answer for that.
Do you think that there is any room to ban assault weapons in this country? Why does someone need an AR-15?
Well, if you talk to the people that own it, killing feral pigs in the, the middle of Louisiana, they wonder, why would you take it away from me? I'm law-abiding. I've never done anything. I use it to kill feral pigs. The action of a criminal deprives me of my right.
So, the right to kill feral pigs is not being outlawed. You can still do that with your shotgun. You can still do it with another kind of weapon if you want to kill your feral pigs.
Or we could just license you. Like the amount of people that have a feral pig issue, like we can get a license for that. The Game and Fish Department is set up for that. And in fact, like there was a sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
There was this letter to the editor to the Mankato Free Press, and this person makes a really good point that's very obvious. It shows like this stuff isn't unconstitutional and actually is a part of gun regulations. Federal law today limits hunters of migratory waterfowl to use of a shotgun with a magazine that holds 3 rounds or less. Sportsmen, conservatives, and the NRA support this regulation to protect waterfowl, because otherwise you could keep pumping your shotgun and just definitely like have 10 shots to shoot a duck and all the duck's going to be gone. And there's nobody complaining about that. That is limiting people's freedom to shoot ducks and reload as fast as they want, but nobody squawks about it because it's not politicized.
Yeah, but like the feral pig. Oh, sorry, what'd you say? Yes, no, but the feral pig thing is it makes it silly, but it also lays bare how ridiculous it is. And I just notice how these conservatives are naturalizing the right to an AR-15 or an assault rifle, which, reminder, the assault weapons ban sunsetted in 2004. Like, this isn't something that's existed for the past 50 years or more in terms of this kind of weaponry. So, yes, you can absolutely limit it. And the right to kill feral pigs at the rate and efficiency that you want to kill feral pigs is not something that the founders had in mind.
And listen, the bottom line is it just comes down to a test. Is there a compelling interest in society to limit the guns that are available to ones that are not assault weapons like this? What are the two competing interests? So far, on one hand, we have central Louisiana killing feral pigs. Again, that's presuming that you cannot specifically license for the killing of feral pigs use of an AR-15 versus society not wanting people who have made the decision for whatever reason to go in and slaughter children or adults for that matter. Society has an interest in not providing them the most convenient and easy and expedient way of doing so. That is why you cannot go into Dick's Sporting Goods and buy a rocket launcher. It's a weapon. It's arms,
probably
right?
good for feral pigs.
That might be more
arms.
efficient for killing feral pigs.
Very good for feral pigs.
But
what are you going to do? You got like 12 feral pigs come at you. Boom, one rocket launcher.
We need to just nuke the whole feral pig compound. That would be more efficient.
But we don't do it because society has an interest in not having people go around with rocket launchers. And like, what is it going to take to prove that society has an interest in not having people go around with the AR-15s? I mean, that's the bottom line. And the Heller decision, as decrepit and twisted as it is, in my opinion,
It leaves
Still
room for
leaves room for
regulation.
that.
Yes, 100%.
here is North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson speaking at a church in North Carolina. Here is, this is back in May. All right, let's listen to this. Here's okay, listen to this.
Well, I tell anybody, I got them AR-15s at home, and I like to go target shooting and all that, but that's not what they're there for. Now, I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm probably not supposed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I got them AR-15s in case the government gets too big for its britches. Because I'm going to fill the backside of them britches with some lead. I'm going to just say it to you. I'm going to say it to you plain. Your boy ain't going down without, he ain't going down without swinging. Well, I tell it.
Well, I mean,
Fantasies.
these are lunatic fantasies. Lunatic fantasies.
Paranoia is such a through line of Republican psychology.
It's not even like it's also just it's delusion too. I got news for you. I don't know what you think if the government's coming for you. You may be able to shoot some of the people who are unarmed around you, but ultimately you're going to end up like that dude in Texas.
Yeah. Because even though the cops were a little bit too afraid to engage with him,
They'll mass up enough.
He died eventually.
Yes, he was shot, killed.
And I get the government doesn't have
bad
any
news
AR-15s
for the lieutenant governor.
Yeah, you are the government.
In addition to you being the government, if this really is about fighting back against the government coming, I would say maybe it's time you do a little more training. Because unless you're going to be in a 12-inch lead bunker,
A foxhole.
and you're going to be on the tallest mountain in the world, and you have some ability to shoot down the helicopters, you may involve a little bit of movement on your part. And I just got some bad news for you. If you're gearing up for the final assault from the government, I got some really bad news about what I think your abilities are going to be if push comes to shove.
It's not really about that, though.
I had a buddy upstate who Like, it came up to me at one point. I've told this story. He's like, I got a hold of a relative's gun. They gave it to me. It's got the serial number scratched off. And this guy had, I don't think it was exactly an AR-15, but it was an assault weapon with a laser scope. I asked him what that's for. He said zombies. He had a shotgun, his and her butt, that would shift. 22, which was like, pfft.
Yeah.
But he had the handgun, and he said, it doesn't have a serial number on it, untraceable. And I'm like,
Okay, so zombies need to trace the
well, I was like, why? What are you doing with that? And he goes, I buried it out at the tree line, and the tree line is quite a ways off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Why? Why? And he goes, just in case they come for me. I'm like, who's coming for you? The government. If the government comes for me, and I'm like, dude, what? First of all,
He'll be able to zig and zag,
No.
right? And then the drone strike will miss
I
him
just
on his
like-
way to the tree line.
first off, he was in no shape to make it to the tree line. Unless he somehow got into his truck and drove to the tree line. But then you get into the tree line, you can't take your truck anywhere. You're going to get out. And what are you going to do with that handgun? Like, if they're coming for you, how do you think they're going to come for you?
That's why he needs an AR-15.
Well, first they send the postman. And the postman says, come with me down to the... I mean, this is just
But why I say
insane.
it's not really about that is because, like, we're talking about the paranoia being a through line. It's also like delusions of grandeur about one's own place in the world. It's all narcissism. I'm going to be able to take down the government myself. They don't feel like they exist in society. So the conservatives, you know, they silo themselves and they think that they're going to be able to take down the government themselves. It's a male
problem is-
fantasy too.
Yes, the problem is the movies that we had when we were in the 80s. It's like Red Dawn and
Well,
Die
Top Gun
Hard.
Maverick's coming
I
out
mean,
this
watch-
week. That was Top Gun's Reaganite fantasy as well.
Watch any horror cop or crime movie, and like, what is the one sort of thing you need is a gun.
Yeah.
Like, you got to make sure you have a gun to protect yourself. It's like we're inundated with that message.
It's insane.
I've not seen Red Dawn yet, but should I see
You got to
it?
see the
for-
original.
I know, but I want to see it maybe just
On the
for
big screen?
anthropological. No, for anthropological reasons,
Oh, you
not for
definitely have
enjoyment.
to.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's incredibly enjoyable. You definitely have to see it. It's fantastic.
I think I've seen the scene where they start parachuting in, right? At the opening scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the Cubans.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right.
Yeah. With Russia. Or I guess the Soviet Union at that time.
Be an ambitious invasion.